Hello and welcome to another week of chess openings as we go over all the main openings that you'll play as a beginner at the game of chess. This week we're going over the Grand Prix attack, which is a great opening against the Sicilian defense. We've gone over the Smith-Morra Gambit as a way to combat the Sicilian, but the Grand Prix is also a great alternative to what you can play as white. So without further ado, let's just begin. So to get in the Grand Prix attack, it's pretty simple. You start with e4 and your opponent goes c5. This is the Sicilian. We go knight to c3 and they go knight to c6. This is also known as the closed traditional line of the Sicilian. And then from here, all white has to do is move up to f4 and you're in the Grand Prix attack. Now it's pretty simple. When you get to this stage, what are the main things that you want to be looking for? What you're going to be wanting to do is get this knight over here to f3, get the bishop over here to c4 or c5, depending on what black is giving you in the table. We'll then go d3 to close up the position. We'll then castle, and then we're also looking to get the queen to e1 after black castles themselves. So let's go over what the typical setup for a Grand Prix game will look like. It starts off with black going to g6, trying to fianchetto the bishop. We get our knight out, they fianchetto. We get this bishop out. I like to get it here just in case if they do try to get the bishop out, you can just take the knight and you're good to go. What black will do is a lot of the times they'll come over here to attack the bishop, baiting you to take the knight here. But what we want to do instead is we just want to ignore that altogether. We'll just castle, let them take the bishop, and we take the knight. There's not much that they can do. We'll just return the knight over time. It's a mistake if black comes out here attacking the knight. Black then continues its pawn push with d6. We push up to d3 like what was in our plan. They'll push out the knight over here to f6, looking to castle. And then we move over here to e1 and they castle. One thing to note when you are playing the Grand Prix is that when you do move this queen over here to e1, you kind of do want to wait for this castle to happen, because a lot of the times when black plays the Grand Prix, they might not castle just because it's such a formidable attack to face when you're black. And then once they castle, you bring the queen up here to h4 and then it begins. One thing to note about this position is that if we go back over here to where this d6 pawn was made, if they go here instead, we do not want to take with the e5 pawn. It's going to ruin a lot of our attacking chances later on and kind of ruin the whole point of the opening. So just make sure that you don't take that e-pawn. Fortify over here on d3 so that if they do take, you still have this pawn center here and that you can push later on. So we're going to go into a game I had with a viewer last night. His name was Aldo. He's a regular viewer on the Twitch channel. So if you want to check me out, go to twitch.tv/ZachSlegowski and play me in these openings as I do multiple times a week. So we started off the game with the e4, c5, knight to c3, knight to c6, and going to f4. Got in the Grand Prix attack. He went d6 and I pushed up, continued my development, put my bishop over here to b5, and then it looked like he was going to fianchetto the bishop. So I continue my development. He fianchettos. I push up to d3, doing everything that's right with the opening. And then he comes and attacks my bishop over here on a6. Now it's tempting to move down over here to c4, but you also have this pawn strike here where you're going to have to use this pawn sooner or later to stop the attack. And I wanted to avoid that completely. So all I did was I took over here on c6, traded the bishop. This is honestly one of the better things to do. I then castled. He brought out the knight. I moved this bishop as a little bit of an in-between move. He castles. I bring the queen over here to e1. And then he pushes over here to a5, looking to stage some sort of a queenside attack. But all my pieces right now are facing towards the king side. So in my next move, I push up over here to f5, looking to open up this bishop angle right here. He brings the bishop over here, looking to attack the d3 pawn. Great for me, because I push over here to h4. And he said in this position, he knew he was in a lot of trouble. As someone that never played the Grand Prix attack, he didn't really know what to expect. He pushes back to knight to e8, looking, I think, to defend this bishop. And then we attack the bishop here. He pushes up, opening the line for the queens. I push up my knight instead, looking to block there. He then removes the bishop and I take over here on g6 with the pawn. Now, this is kind of threatening because he takes here, I take here, but he doesn't have enough pieces to stop this attack. So when he takes, I take with the bishop. He takes there, and instead of taking, because this was a blunder, taking the rook was a blunder. I'll give him that. So I moved here looking to see if I can get a nice check here, and he thought, oh, I'll just clean up the bishop, but that led to checkmate. So that was a typical game between a 1400 and a 1500, which is what my opponent was. But that is the Grand Prix attack. I'll probably use it more than Smith-Morra just because it gives you a little bit more dynamic games, and it's just a really fun opening to play in general. So if you like that video, please like the video and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I come out with a new chess opening video every week. You can also come say hi on Twitch at twitch.tv/ZachSlegowski, where I play these openings with all my viewers. In our next video, we're going to be going over the Ponziani opening. That video will be right here, and I hope to see you then. Goodbye.